What's going on, everybody? Ash here, and I'm here with Tom Arnold, and we are coming at you live from PAX West 2019, where we just both got to go hands-on once again with the upcoming remake of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now, Tom, you actually played a different demo than I did. You played the demo that has been featured at previous shows, like E3 and San Diego Comic-Con, that covers the beginning of the game up through the end of the first dungeon, the Tail Cave.
Correct.
Now, for me, I'm actually the one playing this demo, which is one they were only showing off behind closed doors here at PAX West, and this is the third dungeon, the Key Cavern. Unfortunately, I understand that you guys would much rather hear the game's audio, like the music and the sound effects, without our annoying voices talking over it, but Nintendo won't let us. We have to actually have commentary over the video, so we understand that's what you want, but we're not allowed to give it to you. So with that said, Tom, how are you feeling about this game so far? And I know you, like me, played this game as a kid and, are comparing it to the original.
Well, I played it as a kid, and I played this demo at E3, so I got to compare the build then to at PAX now.
Right.
Personally, this is more like how it should be. The frame rate is way better than it was at E3, although admittedly there are some stutters sometimes, mostly outside.
Yeah.
But only briefly, like before I was kind of chugging a lot in places the whole time.
Yeah, that was something I noticed quite a bit when I played it at E3 as well, and Comic-Con, was that, in the outside areas, there was quite a bit of slowdown, which is uncharacteristic of a first-party Nintendo game, and that is, I would say, 95% from what we played been eliminated in this build. Although, as you said, it does still pop up from time to time, which is, it's not a deal-breaker by any means, but it is strange for a first-party release by Nintendo. And now, we don't know if this is the retail build we're playing. It may very well still be a pre-retail build, and I would venture to say that's probably the case, because again, Nintendo's all about polish, right?
Yeah.
So don't take this as indication that there are definitely going to be some frame rate issues in the final game, but even if it is based on this build, there's almost none of it. So I wouldn't worry too much.
Correct. I could live with it. And also, this is a top-down game. It should be easier to optimize by far compared to even though it's 3D, compared to an open-world 3D game where you can see like miles into the distance.
Right. Like, given past precedent with Nintendo, if I had to guess, I would say that by when we get the retail build, most or the vast majority, if not all, slowdown is going to be eliminated.
Yeah, that's key.
I see what you did there. I didn't even know that was coming up, but you and I checked out this footage beforehand to kind of prepare. I like that. So the thing that strikes me about this game is that the visual style has only grown on me since this was first revealed. I know it didn't really land with some people when it was first revealed. Actually, even Tom, I think you said that at first.
Yes, the character, like I was going, why are they toys, basically? It looks a ton like toys. Look at that. I love the goofy guy looking around here, though.
Yeah.
But it's grown on me after playing it more, and also areas, like you see the huge amount of texturing or the great detail, and it's a bit dark on the walls or when you're in the forest at first. Like the trees are actually dark. They're not super shiny, green, plasticky things. So
right.
That has helped make it not all entirely like toys to me, and I've gone used to it, and I can love it now.
Yeah. I mean, even these guys right here, like they had their own sprites on the Game Boy, and you kind of had to fill in the gaps with your imagination, like what they might actually look like. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't think this is ever going to replace the original, and it doesn't need to. It can exist alongside it and be there for a new generation of players who never experienced Link's Awakening as kids like we did.
Yeah, back in the day, we had to walk uphill in the snow and use our imagination to play video games.
Exactly. So it is really fun to see a high-fidelity version of Link's Awakening that maybe realizes the original game's intentions in terms of the visuals, the graphic designs, the enemy designs, and they're now being seen the way they were visualized by the developers.
Yeah, and I love the flames here, for instance. There's a bunch of beautiful details in this game for people to enjoy, and for people who played the old one to enjoy again.
Yeah, now, I just took out a couple of Stalfoss there. Stalfoss. And I do want to make something pretty clear, is that defense in this game is more important than in the original. So you can't ignore your shield. I mean, you couldn't in the original, but you could more than you can here. Like, even the moblins in the Lost Woods, you're gonna have a hard time with them. You actually have to parry their attacks and then attack. Now that's not difficult, but if you go in thinking you're just going to hack away at them, you're going to die.
I was noticing that with the Moblins this time around, and honestly, the one with the shield, when I had to go back around him again, I'm like, I'm gonna run around him. I'm not gonna deal with this.
Now here, I'm about to bomb some Dodongos, but sorry, Zelda cartoon reference there. Sorry I did that to you all. But these, as you can see, the Dodongos here are very close to, and pretty much identical in design to what they looked like in Link's Awakening, and they didn't look like you'd normally expect them to look. And I do like that Nintendo, even though they're going with this toy-like aesthetic for Link himself, they're not straying too far from the really just weird designs that you see in Link's Awakening.
Yeah, and I love how they stretch when moving. That's pretty creepy.
It's creepy. They're actually genuinely creepy Dodongos, in my opinion. And I love it. And that's kind of the thing about Link's Awakening in general that I like, is that it's like the Twin Peaks of the Zelda series, right? It's like everything is kind of based on A Link to the Past in terms of the general gameplay flow, but it takes place in an area that has nothing to do with the main mythology of the Zelda series. There's no Triforce, there's no Ganon, nothing like that. And so everything is there as you were used to it, but everything's a little off kilter.
Yeah, and
so it's a little weird.
Back at a time when Nintendo could experiment more with the franchise, because not all the rules and patterns are necessarily locked in place yet.
Right, exactly. And so for those of you who maybe did not play this game back when it first came out, maybe, if you've only played some of the more recent Zelda titles, think of what we're talking about as like Majora's Mask, which used Ocarina of Time as a base, but then turned everything upside down and just everything felt off, right? Yeah. So, of course, now, I just got this dungeon's item, which is the Pegasus boots. Spoiler alert, you just saw it, sorry. But, so the Pegasus boots work exactly like you'd think they would. They're the Pegasus boots. I missed that jump, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, in this game, you have the Rock's Feather, and you can... The Pegasus boots are always equipped, I think, to your L button? Either L or R button, I can't remember, but... but then you can, in tandem, use the Rock's Feather, so you get a long jump. And that's one of the things I love about Link's Awakening, is that it lets 2D Link, in a 2D Zelda game, take actions he otherwise wouldn't, like jumping.
Yes.
And things like that. And you can combine, for example, so you can combine the boots and the feather to do long jumps, but you can also combine, like later on, the bow and arrow and bombs to shoot bomb arrows. And it's really cool. Now, I know you love this guy's design, right?
Yeah, he's so creepy.
He's got to be in the thumbnail for this.
Yeah.
He has to. And then that's another point of what I'm talking about. These are 2D sections in a traditional Zelda game, and if you saw there, that was a piranha plant. There are also Goombas, like all sorts of these things that you wouldn't expect to see in a Zelda game, and that's what makes Link's Awakening so special.
Yeah, they mixed up, and definitely, as you're saying, like mixing the feather with jumping, it added some platforming to a Zelda game.
Right, and you only see that get more intense as you get later in the game. Now, what you saw me, well, the boss is about to show up here. Neener, I love it. What you saw me, the reason I have a blue glow around me is I got a Guardian Acorn, and those, along with the pieces of power, either temporarily boost your defense or your offense, which is something you really only see in Link's Awakening as well.
Yeah.
So here we have the Slime Eye, and, if you don't want to know how to beat him, if you haven't played the original game, maybe skip past this part, because I'm obviously going to show you how to beat him, but... This does follow the traditional Zelda pattern of using the item that you get in the dungeon to beat the boss.
Yes, and I can only imagine Brainchild wanted to do a tech analysis on the reflection there. I mean, that looks so good with a little bit of glow around the edges for transparency.
Right. Now, I admit, I'm an old man, relatively, and I'd actually initially forgotten how to beat Slime Eye. Like, I had the basics. I was like, I remember how to do this, but then I just didn't quite get, follow through. But then I eventually remembered, so that's why it took me so long to actually do that. But, age, right? And our brains go with age. But, I think this looks great. I'm so excited. Now, of course, you have to jump there so you don't get knocked over when the slime eyes land. But I guess maybe my only complaint here is that they take too few hits, a little too easy.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe, well, there won't be a difficulty setting, I'm sure, but that felt a little too easy to me. What about you when you played through the first dungeon?
Well, when I was playing through it, I mean, I was finding so many keys like crazy. It seemed like I was able to whip through it a bit too fast, but that's the downside of the first dungeon. I mean, this is a bit later, so tiny bit tougher, but that boss there definitely felt like it could be a bit beefier, a little bit tougher there.
Yeah, and I mean, to just very, very quickly go over maybe even just one more little nitpick I have with the game is that Link's movement feels a little slow. I wish he walked just a bit faster.
Yeah, I found myself wanting the quick run earlier on.
Yeah, and the 8-way movement is a nice addition, but it feels a little unnatural. Slightly. Again, this isn't like the controls aren't bad, but it just feels slightly unnatural. Now, unfortunately, that is the entirety of the footage we're allowed to show you, but I think we pretty much wrapped up here, right?
I think so.
Cool. All right. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media using the links in the video description below. Otherwise, keep it on GameXplain for more on Zelda Link's Awakening, the Nintendo Switch, and all things gaming. Until next time, guys. Bye.